fear. Because I think one of the wildest questions that I read that kind of stuck with me was like, what would you do if you weren't afraid? And I think that's just such a powerful question to ask, because every person has the fear is the thing that gives you the 100 reasons. And what's really interesting about this is that our brains are exceptionally good at finding problems, which is why I'm a big fan of inverted thinking. So how can I think about all the ways to kill my business and then do the opposite? Your brain is so much better at spotting problems than spotting opportunities. And so it's like, use that problem finding thing and then just flip it. You actually have to think for the threats and then flip them. But from a fear perspective, I think it's playing it out. It's like, what am I actually most afraid of? And so fear typically only lives in the vague, not in the specific. We tend to catastrophize to death. So if I make this post and people laugh at me, I'll get shunned and then I'll eventually go alone and then die, right? So it's like everything just goes to like death, right? And so playing it out into the specific is like, okay, well, I make this post, some people will like it and some people won't, and maybe I'll get some negative comments. If I get negative comments, I'll get more reach, so maybe that's not a terrible thing. And then that night I will have dinner. Right? And that night I will go to bed, right? And so making it really, really specific. And then just to add one more thing on that, the other really big downside of being human from an opportunity money-making perspective is that we underestimate the upside and we overestimate the downside. And that has been incredibly valuable for us to stay alive and not very valuable for us to make money. And so if you're in the developed world, the absolute worst case scenario is that you still have I say fortress. You still have a cover, and you still have food, and you still have air, and you still have water. Because in the developed world, all those things are available to anyone. And so it's like, okay, so the worst case scenario is that I live and I'm completely free and no one bothers me. It's like, that actually sounds not so bad when you actually play it all the way out. And so I think playing it out and actually really thinking, what would I then do? Well, I'd probably reach out to Sarah, and she would let me sleep on her couch. Okay, so, and I would ask her, if you can play it, I'd be like, hey, Sarah, if I were to do something and I were to fail, how long would you let me sleep on your couch? She's like, I'd give you 6 months. And you're like, okay. So it all of a sudden becomes concrete. And I think that starts to really evaporate fear rather than like, oh, I will die.
Totally, yeah.